Virus calling in from the UK. We're just globetrotting today. Virus, what's going on?
Yeah, it's not much. I'm just just like that last quarter. It's actually tomorrow. It's 1:35 for me.
Gosh, you guys are awesome for watching my show at 1:30 or 2 o'clock or wherever you guys are calling. I mean, y'all are fantastic. I wouldn't stay up for myself. So I'm glad you guys are doing it. I appreciate it.
The call screener was really good, and I was wanting to talk about deja vu and a specific experience that normally happens to me, not often, but does happen.
Okay, I'm curious.
It's a weird experience where I'll have a dream like in the night where something will happen, and then later on down the line, like similar to like the whole deja vu experience, it happens. Similar to the last caller, I know it could be my mind tricking me, but it's like that thing happens. And
can you provide an example?
Freeze for a moment. I work so for example, I work at McDonald's, and one of the things I've had is a specific experience where I've recalled doing talking to a customer a very specific way, like with a very specific, I can't remember exactly the words that were exchanged, but I remember that conversation very vividly, and then my mind remembers that conversation like from the dream and causes like a moment where I almost freeze for a moment because it's like, hang on, I've experienced that before.
Yeah. So the thing about this is, obviously I'm not you. I wasn't there. I can't verify, exactly what's going on, but I can offer suggestions. One of them, of course, is misremembering things. And I want to talk about an interesting study with this. So I just found the article for this. This report is from 2001. I'm not looking at the actual study in front of me, but basically a group of people were exposed to some print advertisements that featured Bugs Bunny at Disneyland. Okay. And so, if like Bugs Bunny is not owned by Disney, right? You're never going to see a Bugs Bunny mascot or anything at Disneyland. But after they were exposed to some of this advertising, they would do it in like kind of subtle ways. I think it was like in the room and stuff. I don't think they directly handed people. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the study, but they asked them in a questionnaire, and one of the questions was, have you ever seen Bugs Bunny at Disneyland? And 30% of the respondents said yes, which we have to know is absolutely impossible, right? Because that just doesn't happen. And that's a whole chunk of people saying, yeah, they did, only because they were subtly influenced by these other factors. So again, not saying this is absolutely the case, but this could be a case of misremembering things from dreams. I mean, dreams are pretty wild stuff. And unless you're writing down exactly what's happening right after you wake up, I've definitely probably misremembered some of my dreams when I was a kid. And that's something that's just it's impossible to verify. We can't exactly say what's happening in a dream either there. So I could definitely see how stuff that happens during the day too might influence your dreams, stuff you're watching or activities you were doing. I don't know, but that's just one possibility. And I know that's not something you haven't heard before, but I thought maybe that's an interesting example.
I would like to add, because the example that you gave was you had a dream that you were talking to a customer at the McDonald's you work, and then during the day after, I think it was, you had a conversation and you had that deja vu moment. I just kind of wonder, like, are these
the next day? But
wasn't the next day? Okay.
It was like it was like a while after having the dream, like probably a couple of. There are other examples, but that was just the first example that popped into my mind that I can remember straight off the top of my head.
Okay, I'm just wondering because, like, if you're in your place of work, you might be having these very common conversations that you would have day to day, and it would be likely that you would probably be dreaming these too. So I'm wondering if it's just coincidence.
I mean, I don't deny the fact that it could be coincidence and that it could be just like someone in the chat, I think I spotted earlier in the live chat, said it could be like a synapse misfire. But because I know the deja vu phenomenon is literally just your short-term memory and your long-term memory having a misfire. And I don't deny that it could be just coincidence, or that I remember something and misremember it, like you stated earlier.
Yeah.
The whole thing, sometimes, like, with the example earlier, that was like a common example that could happen and could be that kind of thing. And like you were saying, it's testimony. Like you're not me.
Right. And this, like, as long as you're, because, you know, the thing about dreams is we literally sleep every single day. Well, most of us sleep every single day. Human beings have been sleeping for as long as there's been human beings, and yet we know so little about dreams and how they function and what's actually going on in that process. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of wires being crossed or something, and it just gives us kind of these false illusions. It's really crazy how far people will take this stuff. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mark Taylor, but Mark Taylor calls himself the firefighter prophet. They did this whole documentary about him.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. Like, he was the guy that said that he predicted Trump was going to be president back in like 2012 because he had a dream about it happening. But it was like the night after he watched like Donald Trump do something on TV, you know? So like, yeah, you can have a crazy dream. And he wrote it down, I guess. You know, he's one of those guys that writes down because he thought he was having prophecies through his dreams. And this was like supposed to be proof of one of them. But like, you know, out of 7 billion people on Earth, yeah, somebody has to have a dream that Donald Trump was going to be president at some point. Like, I don't deny that that's probably a thing.
I mean,
and maybe he just got lucky, but you know, like, life's just weird, man. I don't know. I'm glad that you're taking a stance though, that you're not like super 100% sure on it. You're just kind of curious, and that's good. That's good.
Like, another example is a game that I hadn't, like, I'm interested in this game, so that probably could be a reason. But like, a game that I really like, I didn't own yet. I had a dream about playing it, and then all of a sudden, like, I did end up acquiring that game and then playing it. And of course, in fact, it wasn't the like playing it that triggered it. It was the acquiring the game that triggered the sign up. So I'm not saying that it is like something about being able to predict the future. I'm not that kind of person where I'll say that, but it's something that's, we don't fully understand, that there are people who look into it all the time. And I'm interested in finding out more about our psychology.
I'm
interested. It's definitely, sorry, Dan.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's definitely super strange because I've had those deja vu moments a lot in my life too. And it really feels very weird. And it feels like you're almost, like you almost envisioned these things a couple days earlier. But really, I think it's more just, we have a lot of common, like, similar thoughts, or we're thinking about things, and then we end up dreaming about these things. And then later, just like the game you were talking about, like, it could have been I'm not sure if you would mention this, but like, you could have been thinking about getting that game and then had a dream about it, and then later on bought that game. So it can just be like things that we're thinking about.
Oh yeah. When I was in college, when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, I put over 200 hours into that game in total, I think. But like, I had dreams where I was Solid Snake, or Solid Snake was there, and we were doing some cool spy stuff. It was happening. So yeah, dreams are weird. People are weird. It is crazy how much human culture has attributed to dreams and what they mean and what they tell us. And what's even crazier is, it may just be all nonsense. That seems to be what the conclusion I'm drawn to is, right? It's just kind of brain trash that our brain is kind of throwing out. But I don't know. Hopefully we gave you some insight there, Virus.
Yeah, I'm just before I'm going to probably do a test tonight when today, considering it's the next day, but I'm probably going to do a test where I'm just going to repeat something to me in my head over and over again and see if that affects what I'm going to dream about.
It's like that episode of Dexter's Lab where he's studying for the French test and he hears the word cheese over and over again, and that's all he can say the next day. That's what I think of. Maybe you haven't seen that.
No, I haven't watched Dexter's Lab, but I should. But since you before I go, since you were talking about MLMs in the intro to the show, I wondered if you've heard of someone called Illuminati.
Yes, I love Illuminati. I love her videos.
That's where I first heard about MLMs.
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know what the MLM scene in the UK is like. It must be kind of different. But anyway, Virus, that's all the time we got for you tonight. Unfortunately, we got some other callers that I wanted to talk to, me and Taylor. But I appreciate you calling in. And it is funny when I think about, because I've had that conversation too, Taylor, as well, when it comes to MLMs, about like people don't know that term. And I get surprised every time because I just think it's so common. I guess it's not.
Yeah.
It's not really as common as I think.
No, it's not super common. Yeah, because I never heard that term until like I was presented with an MLM opportunity. So a lot of people that get involved, they have never even heard of MLM. They don't even know really what it is. So yeah, it's not super common. More people are familiar with pyramid scheme, which is basically what MLMs are.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true to my observations as well. MLMs, they don't know. Pyramid schemes, they've probably at least heard of it, even if they don't know the details on exactly how that works.
Yeah.